Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi barakatuh, everybody. This is your brother Preacher Moss, the host of the ShOUT show, the SOS. Hope you're having a fabulous Friday. Listen, we got so much stuff going on. I want to give a shout out to Brother Moses the comic, Brother Musa Suleiman, who is celebrating his birthday today. I'll be a part of his infamous and famous roast later today. So make sure you check that out on Facebook Live. Make sure you check that out. As well, I want to give a shout out to my Atlanta brothers, my Atlanta Muslim brothers who came and spent a whole day with me, Brother Musa and Brother Nuri and Brother Musa's son. She's got like 132 sons. They all came in one car. Alhamdulillah, man, I just want to give them a shout out. What you saw earlier, that just a little tease. You know who our guest is tomorrow. Dr. Sylvia Trey Moore Morrison. Again, that's Dr. Sylvia Trey Moore Morrison. So you don't want to miss it, brothers and sisters. And I'm firing up for Friday Funnies. Before we get going, I just want to make sure I make a certain note, if you will. The quick note is actually a very quick note. It's just a shout out. Yesterday, it was basically the 1 year anniversary of the first case of COVID here in the United States. And I know a lot of people, they spend a lot of time on it. I did not. I decided I was going to do something different. We've been talking about COVID a lot. Okay, so I'm not saying I have COVID fatigue, but I'm saying that at some point in time, I realize it's there, and I just don't want to live in a bubble, meaning I need to move on. We all need to move on. I mean, recognize the seriousness of it. People, we just need to mask up. We need to make sure that we're doing what we can do for our children, for our frontline workers, for our parents, and I think things are going to work out. I hope that things are going to work out. But hey, that being said, I'm giving a special notice also to all of the frontline workers and the people doing the vaccinations. Thank you. We appreciate you. If you haven't heard it enough, you need to hear it more. Thank you for helping us out for the vaccinations and the time, the patience to organize all that stuff, because it's just a hint of things moving forward. That said, brothers and sisters, Friday Funnies is Friday Funnies. And I'm going to tell you why we do Friday Funnies. There was a point, at some point in time in the year, I literally woke up and said, man, if I had to write a comedy act on what the world is, I probably wouldn't write a very funny act. I literally would not be able to write a funny act. I could write some funny things around observances, but not something that replicates the joy that I have. My joy comes from being able to hang out with everybody, have some laughs, have some community. I don't want it to be that people think I haven't forgotten the rest of the world. Of course, I have not forgotten the rest of the world. But at some point in time, I owe it to myself, brothers and sisters, doggone it, to have a smile. If the situation, the scenario, and the politicians and the economy are not going to give me a smile, doggone, I'm going to give myself a smile. So I'm going to get into the topic today, which is Friday Funnies, remembering funny elders. Remembering funny elders. Okay, brothers and sisters, that's what we're talking about today, remembering funny elders. Now, if it's your first time coming to the show, what I suggest you do is don't be a wallflower. I'm going to tell you right now, we welcome you to the show. We appreciate your presence. If you don't mind, on the way out after the show, hit the subscribe button, notification button, link button, like button, all those type of things, if you don't mind. But if you don't want to do that, hey, listen, come in. Let me tell you something. I'm the host, Preacher Moss, but I don't run the show. Okay, this is the platform, but the platform is a community platform. And why I say that is because we have a group of people who come on the ShOUT show pretty much every day, which is rare. Let me say that. They come on the ShOUT show pretty much I'm talking about if there's 100%, the people I'm going to introduce you to momentarily got to be at least 98 to 99% of the time they come on the ShOUT show. Okay? So, with that being said, I would like to go ahead and just move forward. And I'd like to introduce my people from the ShOUT show on Friday Funnies. I hope you don't mind. First up, brothers and sisters, we got Sister Ree. Ree is the craft services director for the ShOUT show. I know you guys are going to craft services, food. I don't get any food. I know you don't. I do. So I appreciate that. Sister Ree has been a ardent supporter of the ShOUT show, and we hope to be able to spin some things around so she can have a little segment of some of the shows where she kind of show us how she puts her cooking together. Eating healthy, eating smart, eating for life. Eat to live, as Honorable Elijah Muhammad used to say. We're gonna talk about some eat to live. Okay. Next up is my consultant producer, who is Sultana Whitfield, who had filled in for me earlier this week on Tuesday, did an amazing job. She did an amazing job coming on the show, navigating the show, guiding it, really keeping the Shout Out Show what it is, and being able to make sure that people have a quality experience. People have a quality experience. And I don't say that enough. But when people have a quality experience, it's not that they come back to you, it's that they're more willing to give other people a quality experience. So thank you again, Sister Sultana. Got a shout out for Ree. Big shout out to Brother Derek Chase, her husband. And we got Sister Ika all the way from Indonesia, Jakarta, Depak. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And I know that Moses isn't watching the show, Sister Ree, but I'm going to tell him happy birthday on your behalf. All the way from Toronto, my main man, Altaf Rashid. He comes with no passport. He needs no immigration. He comes with regularity all the way here. 6 o'clock, figures out a way to make it happen. You know, if there were perfect attendance, I think everybody pretty much would get a perfect attendance ribbon, if you will. But that sounds real elementary school. Can you imagine if you got perfect attendance at your job? You're like, nope, I don't want to be that good. Okay. And my brother, of course, we got Johnny L. Thomas. What's going on, JT, man? Big love to you. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, man. My brother's in the building. I appreciate it, sir. I appreciate it. So let me get into the topic a little bit, and I'm going to qualify this topic. Remembering funny elders. I'm not going to limit it to just things they did were funny, but I'm also going to say to the things they said that were funny. The things that kind of informed me as a comedian. Believe it or not, the things that informed me as a comedian, brothers and sisters, a lot of things that happened in my childhood. The characters who were in my childhood who made things palpable for me. When I say palpable, I mean that I'm able to remember things they said and did that made imprints on me, particularly as a comedian. Because sometimes it's a habit, sometimes it's a saying, and sometimes you tweak it, and that's the thing that makes it magical. All right. So what we really want to look at today is our elders, and I don't say the things that made them special. We also know the things that make them special. I'm talking about the things that made them memorable and a laugh. Like, I had an elder, I won't say his name, God rest in peace. I used to love this guy because when he fell asleep, he'd fall asleep with all his eyes open. And then you have to wake him up, then he go back to sleep and wake up. You know what I'm talking about. The guy sleeps like this. And then you tap him, then he go close his eyes. And then he wake up. Now, I'm saying the snoring, the sleeping with the eyes, this is before medical technology, brothers and sisters. Let me say it again. This is before medical technology. There were no CPAP machines, anything like that. You have a lot of marriages destroyed by a man, particularly a man who snored, to the point where it caused the drapes to pull back and go forward. Pull back and go forward. Pull back and go forward. Then you had the uncle. You had the uncle who, he drank a little bit. Too much. But he would philosophize the more he got intoxicated. I had an uncle like that. And he would drink. And, he thought it would raise his IQ. But to the sober-minded individual, it was comedy. And at some point in time, he realized, he'd go, man, I'm drunk. And that would be the rules for the rest of the time they were there. So what makes it funny? It makes it relatable. I'm going to say this, and I've said it before. One of the funniest women, speaking of funny women, so Sylvia Traymore is going to be here tomorrow. One of the funniest women I grew up with is my Aunt Ruth. My Aunt Maxine is funny. My Aunt Ruth was hood funny. When I say hood funny, I submit for you. There was a time, several years ago, in her neighborhood, There was a young man who was a drug dealer who had cheated some people out of drugs and money. So this crew was looking for him. They were looking for him. And here's the sad part. They finally found him. And my Aunt Ruth, who was a civic servant, if you will, she was sort of like the neighborhood eye. She kept things on. And they were beating the man up. But unfortunately, this is sad, but here's the reality of it. It wasn't like the regular assault, if you will. It was a dusty back lot behind the house. So the scuffle happened, and just all of these billows of smoke. And then you would see something random like a hat go out of the billow of smoke. And then, a shirt go out of the billow of smoke. And then, like, socks would go out. And then pants. And then boots. And then a t-shirt. And then underwear. And my aunt is on the phone trying to report it to the police as it happened. She going, ooh, get over here right away. They whipping him out of his clothes. I've never heard the term, they whipping him out of his clothes. You see, they whipping him out of his clothes. And here's the sad part. After they whipped him out of his clothes, they marched him down 5th Street in Kennedy. And the officer who's on the phone had the audacity to ask my aunt, can you give a description of the victim? She said, it shouldn't be hard. It's 3 PM and he's walking down Kennedy Street buck naked. I'm not laughing at the situation. I am laughing at my aunt because even in that space, she was funny even with the truth. And I tell folks, sometimes you have to allow for that. Like some of the elders, brothers and sisters, were in my mom's church. There was a good man in my mom's church. His name was Brother Rice. And Brother Rice, who was a good man, he was a Christian man. The funny thing about Brother Rice was he was an usher. He was in charge of the ushers. If you've never been in a Christian church, there's a part of the ceremony where they pass the collection plate. And in that collection plate, you're supposed to put money in the collection plate. I guess for Muslims it'd be something like zakat if you actually collected zakat. But in the collection plate, and they would put it down here, and they would walk down, and it was a zigzag thing. They had a very interesting and intricate plan for how they collected money. My problem with Brother Rice, who was a good man, Christian man, family man, he never wore gloves that fit. He never wore gloves that fit. When I mean Brother Rice, and I don't mean they were too big, they were too small. You know when you can't get your hands all the way in the glove, and you have appendages that are not filled, like it'd be like a loose pinky, something like that was Brother Rice. He could only get like 3 fingers in a glove, and the rest looked like a turkey that you would draw around Thanksgiving. But my point is, I believe, brothers and sisters, that Brother Rice was an inspiration for O.J. Simpson in his trial with the gloves. If they don't fit, they must acquit. I believe that came from Brother Rice. I believe Brother Rice was the author and inspiration for the words, if they don't fit, you must acquit. You must acquit. Now, and here's my thing. We have that. You guys know I give my mom a hard time on this show. All right? My mom, that's my queen. I give my dad a little bit of a hard time. That's my pops. My pops is one of the funniest dudes you can ever think of. He is. My pops one of the funniest dudes you ever think of. I've told this story before, but I'm going to give it to you for effect. Because when you're a child watching your parents do something, it's amazing how it happens. Case in point, we lived in a predominantly black neighborhood, but Allah has a sense of humor, and we had a biker family that lived behind us. My dad did not like that biker family. You could turn around any way you want to. The name of the family is the Fitzmaurices. My dad did not like any of them. The father, the son, the daughter, he didn't like any of them. On this particular day, the biker had actually been drinking a little bit too much. And while my father was working in the front yard, he's watching this man, and he yells over to our neighbor, Miss Connie Pollard. He gets her attention. He turns around, drops his pants, and he moons her before people can even get enraged or enraged or outraged or whatever, incensed. While the man has his pants down, my dad runs over all of Jackie Robinson, Josh Gibson, Hank Aaron, Reggie Jackson, and takes a full swing and hits the man in the butt with a shovel. Whack! And, in his logic, waited because he wanted the man to move his hands from his red behind so he could take another shot. I don't know about you, brothers and sisters, but those are priceless moments. Those are the things as a kid you live for. You know, my Aunt Ruth, God bless her soul, she allowed me to go places that I don't even know some adults should have gone. She used to let me go to the roller derby. And I'm going to tell y'all something. Back in the day, people didn't really know if the roller derby was real. I know I didn't. And we would watch the roller derby. And my Aunt Ruth, I want to say if there was a graduate program or PhD program for profanity, perfection in profanity, she would be teaching the course. And she got one of the roller skaters so upset that the woman actually tried to come into the audience to fight my aunt. And there I was, a young child, saying to myself, well, you're going to have to get through me to get to her. And we laugh at those things, brothers and sisters. We laugh. You know, too often, I feel we're way too serious. You know, we're way too serious. You know, my dad's house parties were the best parties in the world. I'm going to tell you why. First of all, my dad controlled all consumption of alcohol. He fashioned himself a bartender. Now, I don't know if he's watching the show, but he would kind of read the directions for making drinks. But ultimately, it ain't work out. People be passing out left and right. And this was funny because he wouldn't drink his own drink. Hey, Cliff, you ain't gonna have that? No, I got a beer. That's good. That's good. But let's look at some of our own elders in the Muslim community, which I think, thank you, brother. Altaf heard the shovel story. That's a killer part. I'm gonna give you guys one of the funniest stories about my dad, because my dad is like a funny dude. I got a couple of uncles too. I'm gonna give a shout out to my Uncle Earl, if you will. All right. And my Uncle June. God bless him. My dad did not coach my T-ball team. And, you know, I give my dad credit for trying to fit in. He's from Washington, D.C. He wasn't a big fan. And, you know, this is like, you know, Black Power, Black Love era. So he really wasn't given over to, you know, mixing or mainstreaming with white people at this point in time. You know, he understood what it was, but in his off hours, he ain't like to do it. Let's say that. Unless they came to him, and I understand there had to be some compromise, something unilateral. I figured that out. I had a T-ball game, and my dad was the umpire. Well, they asked him to be the umpire. And what was funny was, he was doing a great job. I hope he remembers this. He was doing a great job until he called a kid out at home. And the parents kind of charged him. And my dad kind of held up the badass to say, who would like to be a home run? And it was funny because you watch it as a kid. You know, because it's nothing wrong with dads today. There's nothing wrong with dads today. It's just that sometimes, you know, fathers today, yeah, we have to deal with so much stuff. You know, you got to deal with a cell phone, you got to deal with social media. Like my parents' day, like my grandmother's day. You know, my grandmother was funny. You know why? I was the youngest of 6 grandchildren. And she would remember me only because she would go through every one of them till she got to me. There were always 5 grandchildren in front of me. She would look at me and go, hey, Donnie, Brad, Kenny, Lenny, Ann, Brian. I'm like, that's it. You know, you have to hold on. Hey, that's it. You got me. But my point is, we're not celebrating. Why? And this is why I'm bringing this up. This is a really important thing. The reason why I'm bringing up remembering funny elders is you rarely get to see them. There little, if any, recordings of our funny elders of the cookouts, or the holidays, or the Labor Days, and it's interesting because you can't go to YouTube and find them. You can't go to YouTube and bring up stuff because most of the stuff on YouTube is fairly relevant, not relevant, but current. So it's interesting. I want to do something with funny elders. I want to bring on funny elders. I don't like to say Sylvia Traymore is a funny elder. She's older than me, but she's a legend. And we grow up around legends. And some people just laugh to the point. Like my uncle, God bless him, when he found out he had cancer, you think people kind of go into the hole and be sad for themselves and be depressed. Not my uncle. He's like, I'm going to ride this till the wheels fall off. And I'm like, whatever that means, Unc. And I remember coming to see him in Danville, Virginia, driving down from D.C. I pull up. He needed oxygen at this point. My uncle has the oxygen tank, has the hose on, and he's smoking a cigarette. Now, people, if you don't want to lose your entire house and the block around it, you cannot smoke and have oxygen. But my uncle was like, I was like, Unc, hey. I said, you can't do that, Unc. He was like, what's the matter? I said, hey, you can't cut that oxygen off. You can't smoke around that oxygen. You'll blow up. He goes, I gotta go, so I'm going anyway. I said, yeah, but you ain't gotta take everybody with you. You ain't gotta take everybody with you. And I also remember a story, my mentor, my main man, my big brother, Reginald Kitchen. We were on a job one time going down to Miami. We were going to meet with a basketball player who shall remain unnamed. But we were going down there, and we had to take a cab to the hotel. And we got a cab, and we're riding. Oh, my goodness. Oh, wait a minute. Sultana is coming with one. Sister Sultana Ali, how are you? Coming all the way from New Jersey. Yeah, hiding the liquor bottle under the table when Uncle Joe rang the bell. Yeah, I don't know Uncle Joe, but I seen people. This is true. I've been to some repasts where people ain't like the punch, and they put liquor in the punch during the repast. Like, I literally thought about that. That is so funny, Sister Satana. That is hilarious. You know what, funny? And this is another thing elders would do. You got an old school elder when they would ask who made what food for the pure purposes of bringing their own spices. Like, I had aunts that would bring their own spices. Like, she bring 3 things, you bring 2 things. And they would tighten up the food while nobody was looking. Like, they would tighten up the food while nobody was looking. Or, they are the ones who also, they're also the ones who talk to us the most in terms of, like my aunt, I love her, but my aunt, she was funny because she would let me curse. Just a little bit. Couldn't use the big words. Just a little bit for their own entertainment. And sometimes it was for my own entertainment too, because it made you feel big. So I'm going to give some love to the comment section. If you guys have anything you want to throw in, feel free to throw in. Let me again emphasize that we're going to have Dr. Sylvia Traymore Morrison on the show tomorrow. Again, that's Dr. Sylvia Traymore Morrison. Why is she on the show? Because she is a legend. And when I say legend, I mean overdue. We're going to give her flowers while she's still here. Because it's a shame if something happened, God forbid, 2-3 years ago, you'd never known about her. You never known about a relationship with Red Fox or Saturday Night Live or Dick Gregory or hosting a roast with Muhammad Ali. I mean, she just celebrated 50 years in comedy. Let me tell you guys something. 50 years in comedy. Now, it may be to me that, I did over 30 years, but she did 50. And I mean 50 amazing years of comedy, ups, downs, everything in between. And so you gotta do that. What we got from you, Ree? I say to my mother, Ma, you want to go to Chili's? Her reply, nah, they put too much chili in everything. I passed out. Y'all ever mess around? This is a scary thing in the world, man. I don't know if it happened to you. It's when you walk into a bathroom and you see an elder's teeth and they didn't tell you. For years, I didn't know several members of my family had false teeth. My uncle didn't tell me. My Uncle Earl, I thought he had teeth. And then one day, I walked in while he was getting up in bed, and he smiled, and all I saw was the back of his throat. And I was like, oh. And he kept talking, knowing that the teeth weren't there. And I was like, I can leave and come back. Please don't. Just put the teeth in. I need you to put the teeth in. You look like a snaggletooth vampire. Put the teeth in. But I love it. And my favorite story. I had an uncle who thought he could cheat the system. The great Lafayette Bethel. Now, I don't know why our folks do this, but when a doctor gives you a prognosis and tells you to do these things, I don't know why we can't do those things, brothers and sisters. I don't know why we can't do those things, but for some reason we can't do those things. And I sit here laughing. I miss my uncle, but in his last days, when the doctor said, hey, you can't do X, Y, and Z, you know what he wanted? He wanted chicken. And I don't mean a little chicken. I mean, he goes, I'm going to go ahead and get us some chicken. There's a place called 360 Chicken in Danville, Virginia. And the chicken is good when you go to a gas station to get it. A gas station called 360 Gas Station. They serve chicken. My uncle goes in. I said, go ahead and get the chicken. I'll pay for it. He comes back. I said, how much is the chicken? I'm reaching for a 20. He goes, oh, chicken $38. Who buys $38 of fried chicken? My Uncle June. He's one of the guys, when you go in for a checkup, he will say things like, I'm going to trick the doctors. You ain't going to trick the doctors. I'm going to take white vinegar, apple cider, and they won't know. I'm like, dude, you can't take that vinegar for everything. It's not going to regulate your heart, your kidneys, and your eyesight all at the same time. Who comes up with this stuff? But it was fun to watch him because he enjoyed it, brothers and sisters. And we won't see it anymore. That was the last generation of people who are very defiant of what the doctors say. And I miss him for that. Because I kind of rooted for him, even though we knew that you don't know what the heck you talking about. But it's important. He was the kind of guy who he'd get a diagnosis for cancer and he would rub Vicks on his chest. He'd be like, that'll take care of it. Oh, yeah, I feel the cancer going away right now. More Vicks. Huh? There you go. Oh, I'm in remission. And here's the queen. A country-type funeral awaits. Fighting started. Body fell out of the floor. Your mom didn't drive, but at dark started walking along for 20. I heard this story before. My grandmother was at a funeral, a country funeral. A fight breaks out, right? The body falls on the floor. She's like, I got to get out of here. No car, no Uber, no nothing, no taxi. And she's like, I'm going to walk out of here in the pitch dark 20 miles. That is so funny. That is so funny. But listen, I can't believe it's already, I'm sorry, folks. I've been running over. I've been having a good time. So listen, tomorrow, let me get to this tomorrow. Right now, I want to take care of one thing. Brothers and sisters, let's support our sponsor, BeFinanciallyIndependent.com. Again, that's BeFinanciallyIndependent.com. If you don't want to click, you could call 1-800-679-3175. Again, that's 1-800-679-3175. Or you could do yourself a favor and simply go to www.BeFinanciallyIndependent.com. And they will actually be sponsoring our Saturday Spotlight tomorrow. So thank you very much, BeFinanciallyIndependent.com. All right, everybody. I'm about to let you go and get on your weekend, because some of y'all started your weekend yesterday. I know how it is. Boy, the worst thing you can do for a black man is let him get his check on Thursday, because he ain't coming in on Friday. He ain't coming on Friday. We got one more comment. All right, Mama Son, thank you so much. Love you now. And shout out to Miss Eleanor. I know Miss Eleanor got some funny elder stories. But I just wanted to keep it light today. And we'll be back tomorrow with our Saturday Spotlight. Don't miss it, brothers and sisters. Do not miss it. If you can see Moses the Comics roast today, I would suggest you check it out. I will be one of the roasters. How about that? So listen, let me get out of here. Let you get out of here. That's important too. Let you get out of here. And, do what you need to do. I appreciate you. And as always, whatever I said that was funny, all praise due to Allah. Whatever I said that may have been inappropriate, I take that on me and nobody else. So listen, I'm going to bounce. You guys have been more than tremendous. You've been great. You've been great, and you've been consistently great. So, everybody, have a wonderful Friday. I'll see you tomorrow, inshallah. This is your main man, Preacher Moss. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is the Shout Out Show. And again, hey, Nuri! Nuri, come downstairs. Watch Nuri. Nuri! Nuri! See how black folks are? He's probably stealing something that's valuable to me. Nuri, come downstairs. See, you see how black folk are? Nuri, you know we live, right?
Yeah.
Come on over here. Come on over here. Come on over here. I'm gonna switch
Assalamu alaikum, everybody.
There you go. Over here. There you go. Nuri. Okay, well you gotta lean over here a little bit. Look up here though. Look up here. All right, everybody. This is my main man, Nuri. And shout out.
I don't think I'm in, preach.
There you go, brother. There you go. So this is my main man, Nuri Amir, from Cool and the Gang, my home slice. Wait, we ain't bring down Musa?
Musa sleep.
Again? Musa sleep
talking
like...
about funny elders.
Yeah. hey, Musa sleep like this. I like people. I like people.
Eyes closed.
Look, I like people who sleep and eat at the same time. All right. So listen, that's a shout out show.
Great show, preach. I enjoyed
Thank you,
it.
man. Much love, everybody.
Funny elders, Mantan Moreland.
Oh no.
Tim Moore, who played Kingfish on Step and Fetch It.
No, he played a Kingfish on
Amos and Andy. Amos and Andy. He had a funny voice.
LaWanda Page.
You know what I mean?
Red Fox.
Also,
Slappy White.
Langston Hughes wrote some of the funniest stuff in the Just Be Simple series. Just Be Simple.
Okay, all right.
Google that stuff.
All right, family. All right. Peace.
Assalamu alaikum.
Hey everybody, this is your brother Preacher Moss. Listen, I hope that you enjoyed your Shout Out Show experience. We'll be back with the next show, the next Shout Out Show. Simple ask before you go, please help your brother out. Click that subscribe button, click that notify button, and I'll see you again on this side of the microphone. You probably wonder what that smell is. That's me. I smell good. And the reason I smell good is because I use oils from Tarifa Tar. So I'm not saying you can't smell good. I'm not even saying you stink. I'm saying you have the opportunity to smell exquisite. Check out tarifatar.com for some of the best oils and scents in town.